Welcome to another podcast episode here on the Kyle High Club. As you know by now, if you don't know by now, I'm your host, Kyle. And as usual, I've got a very special guest with me, Christo, Baas, the beer. Hi there. Welcome to my podcast.
Hi, Carl. Thanks so much. Really, it's really been an honor to have this podcast and have a good day. Cheers.
All right. Yeah, it's been a good one. Yeah, I love this type of chats.
Thanks for hosting me, man. This is the
All
world's
right.
shortest
Bye.
podcast. Hey, let's be honest. We could not start your podcast in a normal way with me just saying, "Hi, Carl. It's such a
Boy,
privilege. Yes, thank
it's
you."
good.
And you're different. I'm different. Let's let's vibe with it.
Let the
But yeah,
people
it's
know that we are different,
aren't we all?
just like everyone else.
Exactly. No, but seriously, no jokes, but it is such a privilege. I mean, we've been aiming to do this thing now for longer than you've had your podcast, so it's really cool that we finally get to do it.
Yeah, we've been begging to have this. Like when I started 2 podcasts ago, before it was even named this. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
And also this is, as per some of my other guests, this is the first time we're gonna have a full-fledged English conversation with each other.
I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit daunting because I know you from festivals and music stuff, and later on become the buddy that you are. But we've never really had an English discussion. I mean, why should
No.
we? Ons is Afrikaans, So
Why should we? Well, oh, how the tables have turned once again.
hey, and once the turntables have been put in action, we might get English people to listen to this. So, hi, English-speaking people. I've only got one bit of advice for you: learn how to speak Afrikaans.
Well, yeah, I'll definitely personally try to speak Afrikaans with that advice. Thank you. I'll
Thank you,
look
Carl.
into that from my side. So Christo, as you know, I'm here to talk to you about all kinds of stuff and things, and just to let the world know who you are and what it is that you do. If you give me your little elevator pitch, who is Christo Baas the beer?
It's tempting to give the stereotypical answer of, man, who are we all? I'm still trying to figure that out. But I think, at the ripe old age of almost 42, right,
You probably
I've
know who
figured
you are
out,
by now, right?
honestly, I think I know more who I'm not. I stopped I stopped trying to figure out who I am when I realized it's much easier to figure out who I'm not. Because I've done a ton of things in my life, and I've started to narrow it down to, what, for instance, I'm not a ballerina, I'm not a corporate office junkie, but I think who I currently am is mostly someone aspiring to make people around him enjoy life more. And I managed to do that by being involved in music, by having like open mics. I'm cultivating some young artists in the process. I'm working as a marketing consultant guy. Content creation is passion and job at the same time. So I do a lot of photos, videos, voiceovers, scripting and all that. Recently started copywriting for some places. What else? Planning events. Essentially, I do a lot of things that I find fun that don't involve wearing a tie. And
Yeah,
if I can get paid for it, it's really cool.
that is really cool if you can get paid for that stuff. I also
Yeah.
like doing things that I like, and bonus if you can get paid for that. Isn't that the dream?
Look, I know I've got friends that are absolutely content and happy. One of my mates is a CA and at a really big company, and he finds joy in the predictability of knowing that he's going to his office. He arrives there at a certain time. He opens this, I don't know what they open. Let's call it Excel or something. I don't know what you do
A
accounting.
program.
He presses buttons, goes home, thoroughly enjoys his job. Like the dude's a genius on anything involving spreadsheets, right?
Okay.
But I would kill myself twice a day if I had to do that. The predictability, the mind numbingness of what he enjoys would deadify me. So yeah, my days are diverse. Let's just put it that way.
I actually, well, you've just identified something that you're not, and actually, like I always talk about a lot in this podcast about figuring yourself out, getting to know yourself, knowing it is what you like or what you don't like, what makes you depressed and everything. But I think that's quite a nice way to look at it, like knowing what you're not. I know I'll never be this, so I'm not even gonna waste my time to actually try and do that.
Well,
I think. Do you think there's a lot of value in that lifestyle?
for certain people, I can't
Yeah,
imagine that it's necessarily something that everyone will enjoy. I think there are people, and I'm not judging anyone for that, but they find solace in the fact that what their grade 7 or 10, whenever you start doing your once it started 7, man, oh, it's now grade 9, right? Your teacher tells you these are the jobs you can go and do in life. And I mean, when I was 14, they told you can be a freaking doctor, you can be a policeman or a lawyer or something like that. And if you marry a wife, she'll be probably a juffrou or a nurse or a teacher or something, and that's fine. But then you find yourself going out into life, discovering there's more. Now, some people that I know, again, they are happy with the fact that they've been able to predict their existence from the age of 11, and
yeah.
they are now 40 and they've been doing what they set it out to do. And that's cool for them. I just think that yeah, I won't. But just
Imagine
what it means to,
surprise, surprise, going out in
yeah.
life knowing there are other jobs available.
Dude, imagine you went to 14-year-old me and you told him, listen, dude, you're going to make some bucks one day by sending out short little messages with photos of them attached on behalf of not yourself, but other people. And then you're going to make money for it because you're going to do it better than other people sending short little messages and with cute little photos attached to it. What? Who
and
did that?
anyone and anyone around the world can see those photos and images, and the more people who see those photos and images that you put out in the world, the more valuable your services will get.
Absolutely. The more valuable you as a human will be because we are all currency of marketing. Anyway, I want to mention something.
Okay.
You loosened a thought in my mind, Nana.
Okay.
And when you mentioned that, it's interesting that I managed to, and we can all chop off what we don't want, in our
Okay.
life. And that's honestly, to me, that's really easier than to try and figure out who I am, is I can figure out who I'm not. And it reminded me now for the first time of a quote, and I can never remember who said this. It might have been Michelangelo, but because everyone misattributes quotes to Mark Twain if they don't know who says it, so I'll just say this was Mark Twain. So Mark Twain famously once said that, the way that he makes a sculpture, the famous sculptor Mark Twain, right?
Yeah, oh my word, I just love his sculptures.
Anyway, they asked him, how did you do your beautiful sculpture? The more I go on, the more I think this was Michelangelo. Anyway, so he said he starts with this big block of freaking, what do they carve out of marble?
Stone.
And then, yes, and then if he wants to make a human, he just chops everything away that doesn't look like the human that he wants to make. I think that is pretty much cool because I think we get so invested in find yourself, be yourself. But who am I? And every cycle of your life, you go through the same trauma, whether it was your teenage years or your formative years as a young adult, or when you get your midlife. Every phase of your life, you go through that rediscovery of who am I really? And I think that's, just like process of elimination, it's much easier to figure out who you're not.
Listen, I had this discussion with my previous podcast guest, Luke, about what it is that you need to do in order to go forth in life. And the more time you spend getting to know yourself, you're easier going to be able to move through life and achieve things. But this is actually quite an interesting concept because subconsciously I've been doing this for close to 6 years right now, like eliminating the things I don't want in my life, all the riffraff, or like it can be people, it can be habits, it can be all kinds of types of food, sugar, caffeine, name it. But I'm eliminating things that don't bring value to my life. And essentially, you would sit with that complete sculpture of just authentic you. I think that's actually quite an interesting thought because I've never really thought about it because we're all, by taking your metaphor into account, we're also focused on trying to figure out who is that sculpture in that stone. And then we look at this block, the stone, like, what sculpture is inside of that? But simple things is, all right, let's just start chiseling away and let's find out, I think that is so beautiful.
But again, I think you get two different types of artists, even, and we can take this art analogy further by saying that in the same way that some artists will set out to say, you know what, I want to write a poetry-based, nicely lyricked song about spring in a major key, and it must feature goblins for some weird reason. And they set out a whole plan about what they want to write about, the art they want to create, and then they go about finding the ways to do it in the best manner, and then eventually end up with a beautiful song, a spring type song that makes you feel happy with goblins. People like
But
me,
sorry,
and I'm going to say people like you too, we tend to more be the, oh shit, I find that I'm busy writing a song. I've been doing it for a while now, and I think this is how I'm doing it. I like the idea of the goblins, but I'm feeling happy today. And you know what ends up happening? We end up writing a beautiful springy song with goblins, and everyone's happy. Completely different process, same result, same intention, and same effect. So I like that, and whether it's a song that you're writing or yourself, you're discovering, people do it in different ways.
it's all we can take that the same analogy a little bit further, but same with your initial analogy. It's all about, no matter what medium you choose, if it's a painting or a song, it's the action of it. We can look at a canvas and say, wow, I wonder what painting can be on this canvas. But you actually need to physically paint something for there to be a painting. Or you can look at your guitar, it's like, I wonder what song about goblins and everything in that magic, I can play on it. But if you don't actually spend your time to figure that out, it's just going to be a thought, and you're going to stay, going to keep wondering about it the whole entire time.
Like, I'm wondering what the hell's barking there now.
I don't know what the hell is barking out here. Like, I don't even own dogs. This is the craziest thing. Like, I don't know where
any moment.
I don't know where all these dogs came from. Hold on, before we continue in this. There is okay. I really wish I could film this right now. There is like 4 people outside my house right now. Each one of them has like 2 different types of dogs. So there's like 8 dogs outside. You're not getting along in my street right now. It's actually crazy. And these people are trying to go past each other, and all of them are nice enough to give the other person way, and the other person want to give the other person way, and the dogs are just not having it. So this is what's happening outside my house right now.
Oh my word! You know what? It's because we are 2 social chatting people. They just wanted to speak with us, and the dogs are giving opinions on whatever it is that we were busy talking about. Finding yourself.
It's all about that keen hearing of things. When dogs can hear that faint little whistles, and these dogs all decided, you know what? We hear about really intricate life things right now. Let's go congregate and speak to these guys about things how we feel.
I feel we've changed the topic from from finding yourself in a meta way to finding dogs meta in some way. It's weird.
Yeah. Anyway,
and
but yeah, like I just wanted to.
I just said I don't know.
I think the point that I wanted to make is it's all about the action of it. You can stare about that medium. You can think about the medium. You can see yourself as a different type of medium, because everybody is got their own little person and who they are. But if you're not going to spend the effort, you'll never know. If you're not going to spend the effort to type out the story, or if you're not going to spend the effort to paint something or play something on your guitar or carve something, you're never going to know what art you're going to make in the first place.
That makes sense. And it especially ties in with, I did a quick Google and I found out it was Michelangelo that said this, but it's not. Was Michelangelo's surname Buonarroti? I don't know. But Google says it came from Michelangelo that said, wait for it, obviously an ad pops up over it. The sculpture is already complete within the marble block before I start my work. It is already there. I just have to chisel away the superfluous material.
Exactly. So that song is already there. The painting is already there. The sculpture, we're already there because we're physical human beings. We just need to spend time on ourselves,
Well, dude, it's actually so beautiful. And I know I'm jumping from metaphor to actual reality now, but I was literally driving this week and I was thinking about the creation process. And because one of the musos at Open Mic had a chat with me about, how do I go about writing a song? And I had to tell him my most recent song I had written by ChatGPT because it's fun for me. But exactly what you said now, the song is already there. Whatever is needed to write a thing, to paint a thing, to create something is in some form of energy already in you. And I know I'm sounding like a massive hippie now, but I don't necessarily believe it's like a vibrational energy. I mean, like the set of skills that you had to accumulate through your existence to now write the song, the experiences you've had, the Afrikaans teacher that inspired you in Standard 7 or whatever, everything that you've got to write your next song is already in you. If it's not yet there, you can't write that song yet, if that makes any sense at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
So, yeah, and the way that we create art and the way that we create life, I think, honestly, not just mimics each other, but actively mirrors each other. That, the way that I write a song is probably the way that I've figured out my life.
I think you know that's a very good way to perceive anything. Like, you already possess the tools for the outcome you want to achieve.
Right.
Everybody does, right? And that motivation to actually use those tools, that motivation to carve that sculpture or paint that painting or write that thing in the first place, that is basically to each one of them else, like, what do I actually want to do this? Am I content with exactly where I am in my journey right now and this is where I'm going to stay, or do I want more?
Absolutely.
That's basically that for every single person in the world. That's different. Whatever, everybody wants more, everybody is content, and I just don't feel like I want more for myself. I've started looking at myself as a child. You know how you speak to a child. If you're kind to a child, or you try to teach him things and everything like that. So I see my inner mind as a little Kyle, and I just want the best for him. And the amount of effort and time I spend on him, is he gonna turn out to be a delinquent or whatever? But it's a really strange way to see myself. I've been to, that's a little season where I actually experimented with that thought process. I don't really spend a lot of time on that anymore, but that had a season in my life where I saw myself like that, and that helped me to open up another thought process and keep evolving. And now I'm hungry for learning. I don't want to be labeled it, or is like I'll continuously want to learn. I want to be a student of life, and most importantly, I want to be a student of myself in order to give me more tools to figure out what it is that's happening in life. I see life as a video game. The
I
amount
am.
of quests you do, the more you'll get. If you go look under all of those, no matter how many stones you turn over, eventually you'll find that specific item that you've been looking for quite some time, right? So I've recently been seeing life as a video game. All right. If I'm just gonna stay in one little house, in one little level, I'm gonna stay on that level, and who knows? I might be content with that level, but I kind of want to go explore a little bit more and see what I can get. What other levels are there? No one wants to just play one level of a game, and that's how I've recently been looking at my own life.
Okay. Do you think that the games that you might envision do influence the way that you skill up in your life? Because I'm just saying, the way that you play through GTA is completely different from the way that you play through The Witcher. So I think that might also influence how you want to run your life while we were that metaphor.
Well, I just see it basically as I'm not using any specific game in consideration in the thought process, but I just see it as like I use the philosophy of gaming. Like, for instance, the more you do, the more you get. In Sims, the more you stand in front of the mirror, the more charisma you get. The more you train somewhere, the more abilities you'll get. So I'm just thinking, the more time I spend on something, I'm going to get a certain outcome. So that's where I've been
Exactly.
trying to learn. The more I I get curious enough to learn about something, but is this thing gonna better my life? What am I gaining from this? Am I just gaining knowledge? Will I be able to monetize this and make money from it? Will I learn something and I will be able to write a book? Or will I be able to cook just for myself in order to eat healthier? So that's how I've been looking at it. The amount of time I spend on something, what is the outcome I'm going to get from it? If that makes sense.
Exactly. 100%. And it's weird how what we're talking about literally coincides with my personal, as you mentioned, the seasons that you are in. Like right now, I had a chat with, Henry from Sculptor,
Me.
Audio Torch,
Okay.
sound guy. Anyway, I had a chat with him last night about driving yourself in the direction that you want to be, and how often it is that we end up taking the wrong way because it's a nicer way, it's a way that serves us now. But if you don't spend your time on the journey going in the right direction, it doesn't help that you spend the time telling people about where you want to be, and having all the cool ideas and plans and stuff. Like you want to be a better person, for instance. But okay, how? Cool. I want to be more courteous to older people. Okay, but how? Does
Yeah.
it serve you to just talk about being nice to older people? Or does it help you to start by being the natural doers that you are, but trying to be nice to people by going to old age
Or
homes and handing
and
out
actually, yeah, and actually
samples?
go converse with them and actually speak to them and actually practically trying it out.
Or deep dive in, screw that, it's a podcast. I'll be honest about this, figuring out who it is that you want to be in life, not only just what you're doing, but is what you are doing serving the future purpose of who you want to be? Because in the end, what you do is almost superfluous compared to who you are. And
Yeah.
if you continue doing things that do not fit the mold of who it is that you want to be, you will never become the who that it is that you want to be.
It took me a substantial amount of years to actually try and figure out what it is that I want to. I still don't know what it is that I want to do. I feel like I'm touching very closely on things that I want to do with my life. I know I want to create. I know I'm born creator. And
Well,
for instance, talking about the amount of time, I don't call myself a musician because I don't spend every single day playing music, but I like making music, and I like, having the knowledge that I have to every now and then to be able to pick up an instrument and play something on it if I want to. But I've spent enough time to be able to do that. But if I spend more time, do I want to become a professional musician? No.
gosh,
I like making videos, so I've spent enough time to learn how to make videos, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it to do it professionally. But if I do, I need to spend more time upon it. But I think one thing I recently wanted to try and figure out is, what is it that I want to spend a lot of time on that I want to do like always? I feel like I'm so widely spread, like
yeah,
the jack of all trades type thing. Like, I'm longing for that one thing that is me. Kyle is that guy that does that thing, you know?
I've got bad news and or good news for you.
Yeah.
Depends how you want to see it.
All right.
Because I think to a certain extent, okay, look, and I'm just going to tell you exactly what I figured out about myself, because every
Yeah,
single
please
thing
do.
that you mentioned in this last 2 minutes is 100% me, but it's you, and that's why we mates, because fuck it, we are pretty much identical in this, dude. Uh, the entire thing of, you know that you're good enough to make music on a stage, but you're definitely not invested or committed enough to make it as an internationally famous musician. You
Yeah.
know that you're adequate when it comes to the creation process. You know that, but you know what? You're not going to go into the movie direction phase. Possibly, who knows what you'll be doing next year? Because that is our thing, dude. That one big thing is that our thing continuously changes. It
Yeah.
is, and that's what I said earlier. It's not about what you do. It's about who you are and who you want to become, as certain rules attached to it. Like if you say, listen here, who I want to be is a person that is well traveled. I want to be known for my international knowledge and, worldly experiences that I can share. For you to invest your time and spend your time building an empire in one town, let's say in Cape Town or whatever, or for me in Pretoria, is dumb because, it doesn't serve that purpose. However, if who you are is someone that has said, you know what, that guy is dependable, he's always there, he's in the same spot, those people that doesn't matter what time of day you rock up, they're going to be home and you can rely on them. They're there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then you do different investing in your life. But
Yeah.
the specifically for, I do believe there's an actual medical term for us as well. It's called ADHD. Um,
Yeah, that old chestnut.
but no, dude, seriously, I think that if I want to achieve something, and I don't mean achieve in the sense of, oh, I've got the 5 houses. Well, mind you, lump that in there. If who you want to be is someone with 5 houses with 10 rooms each, it does not bode well that you spend your time investing in fishing.
Yeah.
Um, you know what? Invest your time in making money and property.
Yeah.
And the more that we realize, the non-financial bits of us, the non-paid for bits, if we,
Wow.
what's that bit of you? What excites you, and how are you going to get there? What's the path that you follow for that? I think that is more relevant than exactly what you do or the way that you do it. I'm an entertainer. If you put me on a stage or a podcast or freaking, dude, I was emceeing in Chamberlain's the other day, walking around, having a ton of fun because they had a super special day and I had to go and tell people about some other power drills. I don't know shit about things that go brr and make tools happen. I know people and I know how to talk. If you give me a guitar or a microphone or a stage or anything where I can use my voice, that's me in my element. Other
Yeah.
people are different again, but you know what? Like, I love the fact that we've got musicians that are dedicated to their craft.
Yeah.
You know what? Dan Patlansky, check out how many guitars he plays with.
All of them.
Count them. No, like two. He, he's like, how can you move on to a different guitar if you don't know this one perfectly? And he feels that he doesn't know easy well enough yet. That
Yeah.
is dedication to your craft.
Yeah.
When they spoke to Joe Satriani and they asked him, how of the prolific lead guitarist, right? How much do you practice in a day? And he's like, you know what? I really try to do 6 hours a day. And I'm like, holy shit, 6 hours a day. It's impossible. And then he continues and he says, but you know what? Sometimes I have to be honest. I don't do 6 hours. And the interview was like, yeah, you know what? We're all human. And he says, no, I get carried away. And when I see it's 12. And I'm
But
like, I could never be that dedicated to one thing in my entire existence. And that's where I realized that I'm dedicated to be deep, to find, I don't know, everything, to doing things, to changing, to being versatile. And, if that happens, what you're good at, do it. Happens to be.
this might be a little controversial thought process, but do you think our brains have been trained to get dopamine at all of the wrong places? Because now you can say, what? It's impossible to practice for 6 hours or more. If you think about it. But if you have to break that down just on a layman's terms, piece of paper, if you have to spend 6 hours on something you love, would you do it? Yeah, of course. I love that thing. Okay. So we all say, I want to become this, I want to become that, and never spend time on it because we say, oh, we don't have time. But if you
Uh,
ask someone, hey, have you watched this season? Yeah, I've binged the whole entire Game of Thrones. You know how many hours that is?
yeah, a
But you
lot.
can't spend time. You can't spend time on the things you actually love. Oh, I don't have time. But you just see the Game of Thrones. I'm like, I don't, I don't understand that, and I'm guilty
Wow.
of this myself. There's a lot of things I want to achieve. There's a lot of things I want to do, and I find, this is how I've programmed my brain. I find my bad habit is not spending time on the things I love. When I don't, I feel shit when I need to rest, or when I'm good at doing nothing. It's like not even anything, not even watching my phone or anything, and just chilling. And I love that. But that's one of my bad habits, because when I do that, it doesn't happen for very long. If I look at half an hour, I haven't done anything in half an hour. I start to feel like I get jittery of like, you know what, this is time I could have spent on something I love doing. And that's why I haven't accomplished the things I wanted to accomplish, because I spent time doing nothing. I can't continuously doing nothing. And when I relapse in doing nothing, I'm feeling like shit. And I need to motivate myself to spend more time towards the things I love. And I feel lately I've neglected the things I've loved. And that's
Hmm.
what I want to get them back in. I want to rekindle that. I want to get acquainted with the things that I used to love doing, from being a child, what
Mm.
did I love doing? And what do I love doing now? And how can I
Um,
spend more time doing these things?
well, I mean, look, again, I think you're being overly harsh to yourself. But to answer your first question that you started this with was, do you want to know, do I think we find our dopamine in all of the wrong places? And no, I don't. I think life is balance.
Yeah.
Um, I think that we do find some of our dopamine in the wrong places, some of it we find in the right, and some of it is the right places, but perhaps too much at that place, or whatever. Find it in the wrong way. I know that at a stage, dude, I was so busy, and I mean busy not just with work and stuff, but I did not have half an hour to just be me. It got to a point, I remember it was like 2013, I calculated that I made food for myself, like lunch vibes,
Bro.
less than 10 times the entire year. Like I cooked at home less than 10 times because I was at events 4, 5, 7 times per week. And
Yes.
it's not always, so I hid my insecurities in being busy because
Yeah.
I fucking hated being alone. I hated being with myself, and I didn't realize it yet. It took a fucking international pandemic forcing me into a room to realize that, hey, I'm not such a bad cunt to be with. I quite enjoyed some of my
Yeah.
own time with myself. And that's when I realized I needed to make some time, even as this extraordinarily extroverted individual that I am, to find that dopamine rush when I don't, without people, without having to go out and do something. And that was when I started feeling okay about doing nothing. And doing nothing is actually actively doing something, because you're actively doing nothing. Doing nothing in the sense of, and
Yeah.
you have to be, I think there's someone that wrote something. I can't remember if it was a video or that I watched or a book that I seen. It was someone that spoke about actively, essentially doing nothing. It is, you need to sit there and not think about work. It is not being active. It means actively being inactive. It
Yeah.
is to purposefully set aside anything that can make your day shit and
Yeah.
focus on that, but also balance. I mean, I took some time not off, but having changed some major things in my life for the last half a year, I took some time that I said, you know what, I'm not going to drive myself to be the best me. I'm not going to push to grow as much as I would like to now,
We'll
because what
start the
I
year
needed,
with the new year, new me
no,
vibes, you
fuck
know.
that. I needed to go through a space that I just wanted to say, you know what, take some time to rest, take some time to recover. I unfortunately couldn't have the, luxury of saying I'm taking a sabbatical of a year and going traveling to find myself,
Well,
because some of us need to pay bills and shit. But I'm finally now at that space after consciously investing time in doing nothing, to switch my brain off, to spend some time with myself, learn how to do a bit of, I won't say I learned how to meditate, but I learned how to start clearing my thoughts of things, and I realized what a chaotic space it can be if you don't spend time clearing your thoughts. So
yeah.
to find the dopamine rush is good to have the nothings, but I also think, and there's much inspiration in some people that I dearly love, that overly active people. I love the fact that I've got friends that would say, listen, bitch, let's go walk 5 kilometers for a thing, because God knows I will never in my entire existence say, hey, you know what I feel like doing? Walk nowhere.
Lies.
I will never say
Lies.
that.
You invited me to go walk dogs.
Yeah, but that's dogs. That's me
but
going to a dog to be nice to a dog. Do you
but
think I went
still,
there to walk?
you actively phone me and it's like, hey Kyle,
Yes.
do you actively want to go walk? So
No.
technically you
Let's
have.
go. Let's play with dogs, and the dog enjoyed the walk. I know, but point is, it's good that that happens. And so sometimes I think we're being overly harsh to ourselves, like you would to yourself now. But oh no, I can't, find my dopamine where I actually find it. Why not? You admit to loving to doing nothing, then fucking love doing nothing and do it well, but have the limit.
Yeah,
In the same way that
discipline.
you said earlier that someone who can do, too much of a good thing. It's essentially what we're saying. So you could
Yeah.
lose yourself completely in your hobby and neglect your job. And hey, maybe one of the people that's, oh, woodworking is my hobby, and then next year it becomes my job. But for most people, the reality is that if you're I don't know, a woodworker in your garage, you will be your woodworker in your garage probably forever while you've got your accounting job. and that's fine. But as long as you make time to find your dopamine in different ways, to find your, I don't like using the dopamine thing, just find your joy.
Yeah.
Find what energizes you and let that energy dictate where you go to find your energy. And that is not me talking about cocaine or anything. Fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know what? I had to make, like, for instance, I'm starting up my YouTube channel and, well, I say my YouTube, but starting a lot of video stuff and content creation from my side now and taking it a bit more seriously because I sat and I said, you know what? What's the best part of my existence been in the last couple of years? And one of the top three things was the moment that I managed to create something like a good photo shoot or a video or share something online and entertain. I love that. I love being on a stage and I love using the talents that I do have. Why don't I just focus on doing that a bit more seriously? So, yeah, you know what? Let's create more spaces for us to find joy in rather than sit at home wishing that we could have the joy or the energy or the dopamine that we want, you know?
You know, it's true, actually, what you said. I've never actually really thought about it, but yes, we are cut from the same cloth, essentially, because it took me, I mean, when versus you met me versus how you know me right now, you could actually see that journey, but it also took me a lot of introspection to realize, like, listen, I don't need to have the general public buy tickets to come watch bands at my show, at my house, because I didn't want to feel alone anymore.
Yeah.
And if you say that out loud, a lot of people are like, wow, fuck, that sounds amazing, dude. Fuck yeah, that's great. But essentially, do you realize how severe it must be that I can't be alone, that I constantly have to have people around me? It's severe. It's actually really intense. And it took me a lot of introspection to actually sit and realize, you know what, I'm not going to take ADHD as a joke anymore, right?
Sorry, buddy, that I laugh, but I have to interrupt you there. It is really freaky how much our journeys coincide.
Yeah,
like, it is ridiculous. I sent out a tweet not 3 days ago, I think.
Yeah.
Someone on Twitter mentioned, wait, to tell you a story, I'm going to find my tweet and I'll read it to you, and then you'll see how similar it's ridiculous. Go
Okay,
on.
cool.
Sorry.
No worries. So, how I'm going to take this, I'm going to try and figure out what it is, how to live with it, and and that's when I realized, I just need to actually try, like, be friends with myself, because I did all of this intense shit because I spent a lot of time at festivals and all of these things, which I love and I enjoyed it. I wouldn't trade it with anything in the world, but I kind of like, the more I get to know what it is, who I am, and okay, I've got ADHD. How do I live with it? What's going on with that? And I had to get my self-worth back because previously I did all kinds of things. I didn't care what happened to them. Like, oh, I'm not a musician or I'm not this. And I recently decided, you know what? I'm going to put value to who I am as a human being because I never valued myself. And I didn't really think I needed any value. And that's when
Because you're okay.
Yeah, I was okay. I thought I was okay.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm sorry. You couldn't see the air quotes because you're okay. You know what? And you're always okay because why? Because you are so easy to pick yourself up that sometimes you lose the point that, you are down, metaphorically or physically.
Yeah.
Because you are always busy picking other people up because you do have the personality for that. And with you, I currently mean you and me and people like us. And I it's very cute. Sorry, I'm interrupting you gloriously now, like two ADHD kids that we might be. But it's amazing to me sometimes that it's very trendy online now to say, let's think of the introverts and shit, and no one ever tells an introvert or an extrovert to shut the fuck up a bit more. They always tell introverts to speak up a bit more and stuff. Like, okay, cool, let's be kind to the introverts. I know that, but can someone start being kind to the super extroverts too, please?
Yeah.
Understand we might be a bit more. We might need more attention sometimes.
We might be a little bit more introverted than you think.
Exactly.
But
we are all balanced human beings.
That's why I decided to take my podcast and everything a little bit more seriously because I realized I love doing these things too, and that's why Yes, story of my life. I am very hard on myself, but it's only because I want the best for me. I love myself to
Yeah.
a point where you know what, Kyle, you want to achieve these things, you want to do these things. Don't be shy to try and monetize that. Don't be trying to spend a little
Well,
bit more
I've got a
time on it.
question about you. I've got a question for that. You just
Yeah,
said don't be shy to do that, right? And
yeah,
that is literally what I'm taking notes so I remember to ask you things, right?
yeah,
That's what I want to say. No jokes. I've got a notepad here.
yeah. Go for it.
And what I want to know is, like you said, now you don't want to be shy about using, what you like to do and stuff, and do it properly, right?
Yeah.
And I have found, as much of a extrovert as I am, and I want to know if this is kind of like the same with you as well. If you have to stand up for a cause, let's put it that way, you can
Oof.
say anything, do anything, but if you're representing someone, anyone, and anything but yourself, because I
Yeah.
find it for me, like, dude, I can go and stand on a stage promoting anything from a freaking drink. I mean, I used to work for the church. I could promote God. I could promote drinks. I can
Yeah.
stand representing freaking anything in between. But the moment that you have to do it for yourself,
Oh
the
my
insecurities kick
God.
in.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah.
Why do you think I've been procrastinating on my YouTube channel for so long now? Because there's one cunt, and he's actually a friend, and I revere him in our industry. But he's a very, I'm not going to mention who he is. You are friends with him, even. I'll tell you when we are not recording. But he is constantly haunting my thoughts because he keeps on making, and not keeps on making, like in my mind now, he keeps on making the same one dumb comment that he made about things that we do years ago. And it's basically no one would want to watch it. Stop pretending. You shouldn't pretend to be something that you're not. And he didn't mean it in a bad way to me. It was just a general comment. But just that reverberation of that negativity has been enough to get me to postpone my shit for so many years. No, wait, that sounds more melodramatic than it is. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but one action had such a big hold on you. And it's
Yeah.
crazy how we punish ourselves for certain things, you know?
And I can
It's
be secure as fuck when it comes to other people's shit, dude. I can stand and say, dude, I've had 16,000 people in front of me at a big copy when I MC it there. It does not phase me in the smallest. When I did my first stand-up set and it was like 80 people at Arcade Empire, I was like shitting bricks
yeah,
because it's me. Suddenly, it gets more real.
yeah.
I don't know if it's because we don't take life as seriously when it doesn't come to, when it's not directly us, but fuck it. Still figuring that bit out.
I think
Yeah.
I spoke to Monique Napier from Pretty Pandora the other day about
Oh,
this,
yeah. He's awesome.
and it's crazy. I can also be in front of a crowd of people. I don't care. I've also been in front of the public eye for quite some time. But one thing that I found scary was going live on a computer, you know, because not knowing
Like
who
with your
can.
face now or what?
Yeah,
Or
I told her the story about me going live on Facebook in lockdown, and I wanted to play bass and everything, and I got so overwhelmed by that, but not knowing who's looking and what people are thinking, whatever. What am I doing? Is it even stupid? Am I not good enough to go live? Will people even watch this? And all of those things started rushing through my head. And I can't see the interaction, how people are receiving it. And I literally just walked away. I found that more overwhelming
yeah,
because, because it's my own insecurities that got
yep.
highlighted in that moment versus when you are out there pleasing other people, making other people happy. It's a lot easier for you to do, but I feel like I don't know why I'm so harsh with myself a lot. And I say to people, it's because I care a lot about myself and I just mean well. But at the other time, I need to stop myself. I'm like, dude, you're bullying yourself right now, dude. Like, you need to stop this. You need to
Yeah.
start speaking, be hard, but in a motivational tone. And that's when I started that season when I told you about seeing myself as a child. I had to
Um,
deprogram that to be like, listen, you can't yell at a kid the whole time. There are ways to talk to someone to be motivational, and we can do that with other people. You need to start with yourself. Why don't you do that with yourself? It's because you feel I've seen a lot of people do this. I'm not going to mention names, but they feel like, oh, I'm fine, don't worry. You know, it's sort of, it's like that Monty Python. Oh, it's but a flesh wound type thing. Until we're just basically like this little nugget with no limbs anymore, and we feel like we can do anything that we want. And at the end of the day, when you don't have
Stupid
any,
porn.
when you don't have any limbs anymore, like what the fuck have I done?
Yeah, and then you sit in a situation because, and that was me, dude. That was why I had to make a life change last year, just to let my company go and all those things, focus on me, because I was that dude with almost no limbs left because he's so used to, I'm fine, I'm fine. There's a song by, do you know Black ID,
I know Black ID
daughter.
is.
So she's got this song out that literally repeats it a million times. I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Fucking catchy song. Like, listen to it if you don't know it. But and that's literally what we keep telling ourselves. And something that you mentioned earlier triggered now in my memory was that you mentioned that you need to be kind to yourself. And I want to know from you, how do you envision that? Because to me, it started out as, oh, I'm bullshitting myself when I'm being kinder to myself than I want to be. Because sometimes I just want to call myself a stupid person and get on with it.
Yeah.
Because when you do stupid shit, and then you actually sit in my mind, because we had this discussion about being kind to yourself actually when we walked those dogs. Funny enough, yes, my memory's weird. And it's been in my mind about, be kinder to yourself, be kind. And you're not the only one to have said that. It's like 6 friends. But
Yeah.
there's still going to be that back in your mind that knows, listen, you're bullshitting yourself, you stupid people. How do you live that kindness to yourself?
It's all about being thankful. Um, being, I have to stop myself sometimes after, I basically stop myself in that train of thought, and I think to myself, okay, hold on. What do I have what am I thankful for? I have a roof over my head right now. Great. I have got warm blankets. Cool. I have got food in my belly. Amazing. I'm doing good. What I have right now is a dream for someone. Literally. What I have right now in my house, people wish for. Okay? And that's when
Yeah.
I'm kind to myself. Like, dude, stop looking. It's easy to think, yeah, I'm 33 years old. I've lost my room. I've lost my job, and I'm not doing very well. And, how am I going to provide for myself in 3 months' time? And if you go down that rabbit hole, you're just going to go down and 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 down. So you just basically
Yeah.
flip that switch. Okay, I've got a place to stay. Tomorrow morning I can wake up early, I can make myself a cup of coffee, and I can start working. I do have internet, I do have a computer, I've got everything that I need. I'm thankful for these things. So if you just flip that switch, and that's how I'm kind to myself, take my self-worth back. My friend
So,
Anthony I just want to finish this
not
quickly.
enough.
My friend Anthony once told me, and he knows I'm very old of myself, he sees this a lot. He said, Kyle, if you take R100 note, you throw it on the floor, you step on it, and you scrunch it, and you dirty it, and you pick it back up. Is that R100 note lost its value? No. Still, it's like, no matter what life
Oh,
throws at you, Kyle, like, no matter what has happened, and you've seen me, I mean, you've seen me through all phases of my life, whatever life, you're still who you are. You're still who you are. And you need to be
wow.
thankful for that. And I think that's how I am kind to myself, being thankful.
So, if I understand correctly, what you're saying is basically it's not about stopping being hard. It's more about finding the reasons to bring in the soft,
It's about changing a
if that makes
perspective. It's
sense.
about changing a perspective. Like, that meme of the two guys sitting on the same bus, the one sitting on the other side, and he's enjoying this one amazing view, and the guy on the other side of the bus just staring at this dark mountain.
Uh, yeah.
It's all about where you sit on the bus. And I see that on my mind. I've been sitting on this part of my mind for quite some time, staring at this dark. It's like that scene in 21 Jump Street where Jonah Hill is having a bad trip. It's like, I just have to step over to the other side, where Channing Tatum is, and just have a good time for a while, So That's how I see it. Like I'm just flipping the narrative, flipping the switch, and just basically changing my perspective. Because as you can think about things and go sad in the darkness, you can do the same with
Mhm.
positivity and kindness.
Well, I think, and this is just for me, please, for the love of God, don't take this as life advice, but I think that if I stop being hard on myself, I will not achieve shit because I am too damn lazy. I
Exactly.
need to I need to cock myself out sometimes. I need to put pressure on myself. Otherwise, especially if you're working for yourself, by yourself, no one else is going to put that pressure on you, dude. You know, sure, the landlord might want his money sometime, but you know what? And that is why I've been building up that my future is my boss. My future is where I'm getting my inspiration from, is where I'm getting the pressure that I need from. And that is why the future that you choose has to be the one that inspires you to be that person that achieves it. You know, and it's all fine if you want to build up these massive dreams, but you know, again, if you're not going to do shit about it and that motivation is lacking, you're not going to achieve it.
Because
But
if you're
you
not gonna be
also need
hard on
to be kind.
yourself, if you're not gonna be hard on yourself, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, don't worry, man, it's fine. Everyone goes through a rough patch, you know." And you then
I know.
yeah, and then and no one's gonna motivate you. Like, listen, dude, you need
People
to
are too
fuck
nice, dude.
get up and go do your shit. Okay, no one's gonna say that to you. People are like, "No worry, man, you'll be fine. You'll you will figure something out. You'll get back on your feet." No, you need to cut yourself
I,
out.
I'm not a big fan of the memes, you know, dissing, you know, okay, you know, the meme thing that, or the trope actually that says, uh, good friend, hey buddy, happy birthday. Best friend, sup, old fucker, happy birthday. Some, you know, always having the best friend being the worst person in this world.
An
I hate
amazing
that meme
friend,
structure.
don't even say happy birthday. Just
Yeah. Uh, I don't like those memes because I think they portray best friends sometimes as cunts, and let's be honest, sometimes they are, but fuck it. Um, I had a point with this. Oh no, you know, it's. I think we all need friends that are a bit more dicks to us. Like, and they just need to be a bit more direct to us and say shit like, "Listen, here, buddy, it's not just a phase. Um, it does. It's what it's not just a phase. It happens to all men and all that shit. But don't just aim to make your friends feel better about the shit that they are in. That's what I'm getting to.
Emo is not a
I think
phase,
we are
it's a
breeding.
lifestyle.
Yes. Thank you, Kyle from 2009.
He's still alive.
Um, but you get what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
think our friends are too nice to us sometimes. I said it before about my MC career. I know that I'm genuinely blessed to be a normally average, really. Uh, I'm a decent MC. I know what I'm doing on stage. I feel comfortable, and I know I can do a good job. Right. Then you get off stage and you ask someone, "Listen here, how was that? Oh, dude, you're such a great MC, mate. I thoroughly enjoy what you're doing there and stuff. Okay, why don't I get booked more for better gigs?" No one will tell you except the one or two maybe really decent friends that have got the skill set to have a valid and qualified input. Oh, A, B, and C is what you can work on. And we need more of those friends, especially if, you know, if you look all good and confident in what you do. Confidence is a killer of progression sometimes, I think. Because if you look like you're fine, no one's going to bother picking you up. And I
I'll
think,
never call you a great MC ever in my whole
thank you,
entire
buddy. I
life.
appreciate that.
But what I will
So I'm not one.
no, just hold on 1 second. I'll never tell you you're a great MC ever. I'll never tell you you're a great comedian or musician or anything like that ever. But what I do and will give to you is you do have the ability to entertain people, not only because of the entertainment factor, but you do have the ability to be humble enough to and vulnerable enough to relate to people because you have the ability to listen and interact with
Mm.
that. And I feel that is much better advice or to compliment to you than to just tell you, wow, dude, you're a great MC, because that makes you like that narrows it down to just being an MC, or you're a great
Well,
musician. That just narrows it down to you being but that person doesn't really know you enough to be able to look at you as a person. Like, listen, that as a person that I value. So then that's how I would like to
yeah.
approach that forward, because I've also exactly like you. If I were on a stage and someone's like, "Wow, dude, the guy was great playing bass," I wouldn't say anything nasty to that person. I would just say like, thanks. I would humbly say thank you. I would know that person don't know me very well or don't know a lot about music, but
Uh,
I did leave an impact on that person though. That
and
means
that's
something.
difficult. It does that mean that even though your performance, let's say you cocked up on the bass that day, or I fucked up as MC or whatever, we cocked up on our stage or performance level. If someone else still enjoyed it and found something in it, does that make it as bad as we thought it was, or just because we didn't do it technically correct?
It was
If
bad
someone still
for
got something,
us because we know what we've
yeah.
done. It was good for that person because you made him feel something.
And I mean, like in the end, dude, I think personal growth is about listening to your biggest critics and your biggest supporters.
Yeah.
And not just, and I think finding the balance between that. I mean, obviously, I assume there's people that don't like me. I don't really know. I don't care. Um, but I'm sure there's people that have got opinions about me and what I do that might not necessarily put me in the best light. But I also know there are people that really kind of like me for some weird reason. Mostly people with really weird taste in people, but still,
People with really
like,
very weird taste in people.
like, yeah, your taste in friends are it's like questionable at best. And I mean, you like me, I think.
Yeah,
So
you're my friend.
I've got such a diverse group of friends. There must be something nice about me. And I have to tell myself that sometimes before I'm too nasty with myself, you know? Like, do I really want to insult friends that I care about by telling them that the person they think is okay is a cunt? So, you know, I
Have
think
you
it's fun.
do you have those friends, right? Do you have those friends who you know them and you've seen part of them and you've spent time with them and you value who they are as a human being and you have to, kind of like introduce him to the world, like, listen, this is this guy, this is him, and he doesn't or she doesn't, act well around other people, and people like would question like, how are you friends with this person? Yeah.
These three friends came to mind.
Exactly.
But I must say that mostly I am that friend.
Exactly. And what I
But I
wanted to
need to
say,
tell you a story.
and what I wanted to say is, I've got the knack to collect these people.
No. Why? Well, I need to tell you the story.
Go
So
for
we're
it.
going from stupid to I think we had a very deep podcast now. Can I tell you something quite funny that
Please
happened?
go
True
for
story.
it. Go for it.
I don't even think I've told you this before. When I was like, God, how old are you in standard? I think it was at 7 or 8. So it was like, let's call it 15, 16, right?
Yeah.
We went on a missions outreach to like far northern Mozambique. We went to help some missionaries build their house because they went there to translate the Bible and stuff. And we had to go and literally, I was there in like trenches, what do you call it, foundations and stuff that one day, and putting up farming stuff.
You
It was
went to go
amazing.
build houses and you were in the trenches.
What do you call it? It's the things that you
Yeah,
dig for the
I know. I was just,
foundation, the foundation holes.
yeah, I know.
I'm not a technical person.
I don't
Shut
know.
up.
From trenches to foundation holes.
This isn't even the point or relevant to the
I know,
story. So
I know.
but it's fun. So we went there, right? But on our way there, we now met up with this couple that was moving up to Mozambique to stay there and translate the Bible, blah, 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 blah. So we met up in Malawi at a camp spot where we spent the night. And I will to this day not forget. I can picture where I was. I see the scene, everything. I can vividly remember. Tertius, our group leader, started introducing one by one everyone in the group now to, the missionary people. And he's like, oh, this is Mariska. She's from Dalmas. Her dad is a doctor. This is so-and-so. He blah. A nice introduction to every single team member. You know what he does when he gets to me?
What?
Oh, this is Christo. Excuse him. He gets anxious when he's quiet. Dis Christo, hy raak bietjie ongemaklik as dit stil raak.
He's not wrong, though.
He's not wrong. I hate silence. I'm better with it now. I never used to.
Yeah, well, I was just to say it's not wrong.
And I'm not even going to argue. That is me. And if you can't stand that, then find a quieter friend.
Yeah, but I've also been in situations where I hear someone be like, hey, listen, that guy is a dick, you know? And I always feel like I need to stand up for some of these people because, and
Well,
if people ask me, how can you hang out with that person? And I always try to respond with, that person has done nothing wrong to me as an individual. And I don't care what you think. We might be friends
yeah,
for, let's say, 20 years or whatever the fuck, right? But I
yeah,
don't care what you think about my character and who I am as a person. And this person might have done wrong to many people. I don't know, written
mhm,
off other people's cars and stole out of their house. I don't know. It's bad examples. But
yeah,
this person has done nothing wrong to me. And until this person does anything wrong with me or give any indication of things that you are
mm,
just telling me, I will
mm.
remain this person's friend.
Yeah, look, I want to agree with you, but I want to add to that. That's exactly the same approach. Like, if you're my mate and I like you, I'll be friends with you regardless of what anyone else thinks. I don't give a fuck. I've got friends that are bad things. I've got friends that, honest to God, they are racist.
Yeah,
I've got friends that are even worse. They listen to socky music.
that's horrible.
Um, I know, but like I've taken time to have conversations with my friends about their things that I don't necessarily like,
Or I
but
agree
you know
with
what?
you.
Or that I think that is different from what I believe in.
Yeah,
I mean, when I used to give but sorry, I didn't want to mention the idea that we are different doesn't make that I can't be mates with them.
I would
But
definitely ask them about those things if it was really bad
yeah,
things. But like, listen, did you write off this guy's car? Like, yeah, dude, I was really drunk that I don't know what I was doing.
and
Then I
if
know
I
that.
feel
Then I know the background behind it. Yeah,
okay, but let's now put that one step further. This is where the further exclusion comes.
yeah,
If it gets to a point where not necessarily what they do directly impacts you, you know what? Like, and he's not written off my car yet, but it gets to a point where people are putting you in the same box as those you hang out with. And I'm very
yeah,
weary of what I'm about to say because I'm not going to say meng jou met die semels en die varke vreet jou op, that vibe. You know what? I'm not saying that you should write off your friends just because they might look up to others. That's not at all. But if your friends get you into a space where people say, Kyle, I'm not going to give you my car to use because I know what you guys do with cars.
yeah,
Just because you are such good friends and associated with that mate that writes off cars, just to stick to that example.
yeah. But also,
I think that is,
I guess that
yeah,
also boils down with the amount of time you spend with people. I think if I don't really spend a lot of time with people, like I'm not going to mention names, but I've got some friends who really struggle with drugs, right? Like
uh-huh.
really, really struggle with drugs. And as you know, I'm like a sober cobra, right?
Yeah.
So, and I know it's really bad drugs. And I always try to, I
Mm.
still spend time with them because I really feel for them and I really want to try and motivate them as far as I can. And I can only do so much, but I try not to spend a lot of time with them because I need to look out for myself and everything. But I'm not going to
Yeah.
exclude this person out of my life because they have a problem. But I'm very selective with the amount of time. And I
Yeah.
guess someone
And
can't.
the level of authority in your life you grant them.
Exactly. So no one can really say, "Oh, Kyle, I can't trust you with my car because I know it's you and that guy." Because and I can just respond with, "I literally see this person like once a month." Does that doesn't
But I think
really?
to be more to the point of that, I think, as you said, if the person has not done harm to you in some way, you don't. I still see it being okay to be friends. But if he's busy doing harm to my future,
Yeah,
I need to either address that or cut it out.
that's exactly
And
that.
if
That's
there's
one of those little things
no,
that you need to chisel away. You need to choose
well,
if that's something you want to chisel away. Is this
even though he
friendship?
might not actively, he might not be stealing your car or writing it off or whatever, but uh, whatever the example is, it might not be directly impacting you now. But as I said, you know what, I'm letting my future be my drive now.
Yeah, is this friendship worth having just because of the amount of time that I know someone?
Dude, I think it's very important to realize you've got three levels of friends in your life. Different people label it differently. I used to talk about you've got your up, your middle, and your down friends. The down friends are the ones that you lift up.
yeah,
Uh, don't learn from them. Don't fucking be influenced by them. You are their good influence.
yeah.
You've got your up friends that you are their down friend, and then your levels are the guys that you're like,
You say,
they mostly like.
oh, you are the down. Yeah,
You're going through the you're going through the cup together. But I have since learned that, well, no, whatever. Re-envision that description to say, keep in mind that a person can both be down and up in that sense, right? I can learn a lot from you about certain things, but in certain other aspects, I might be your up friend, whatever the case might be. I don't think we should be boxing people, but we must be very selective with who we allow to write their part into our future.
And what's the third friend?
No, it's the up, the down, and the levels.
The levels.
So so it's like, because I mean, like I will say, there's mates that I had. We are not necessarily. I'm not going to learn from them, but we're going through shit together. Some of the guys that your mentor type relationships are the guys that you can reach up to, but they are definitely not going to be the guy that's probably going to be saping with you if you have got a cup night. They might be the guy that's going to teach you how to be a better person and not get drunk. I'm running out of examples. Shut up.
Yeah, and then there's basically like the acquaintances. You know each other. You've seen them a lot. Let's say, but people I see at festivals and stuff, and I have good times with them at festivals and stuff. I've got really nice things, but those are not really people I'm going to phone. It's like, hey, you want to come over for a bra, But I still consider them roughly as.
Well, that I speak to.
But
there's 5 people. Yeah. You one of them.
What?
I can't speak to people for longer than half an hour, dude. People bore with the shit out of me that's why I love festival friends.
Yeah.
I enjoy them. I love them to bits. I will any day call them my friend, but I don't need to hang with them for 6 hours at my house.
Yeah. So, Baas, on that note, I'm going to wrap this up, and I do this in all of my podcasts. If you have
because I said can't too much?
No, because that only means aside in Afrikaans. But anyway, so if you could say anything to absolutely anyone in the world out there, and it can be anything, it can literally be another Mark Twain, Michelangelo quote, or it can just be advice or whatever. But if you just want to say something and leave your timestamp on this podcast, now's the time to shine.
Obviously, everything in me wants to make the joke about, will you marry me, Margot Robbie? Because you said anything to anyone. But I will actually do some effort go to some length of effort and try and say something meaningful, which is contrary to my nature. Once you realize that nothing in life matters half as much as you think it does, but it's worth investing double as much attention into the things that you actually like, life becomes much more sensible.
Baas, I would like to thank you for the time you've spent on this podcast with me today. It's been an honor to have you. I just wanted to thank you for, your ongoing friendship and who you are as a person. So I really appreciate the moments that we've spent and what we've talked about. And I would just like to say thank you and be happy and be inspired.
Thanks, bud. It's a real privilege. And I have to say that I forgot we're doing a podcast. I was just talking to you, and it was at one point, let's end off on this, I must say, I almost said, oh, buddy, I wish we could be recording this conversation because I thoroughly wanted to remember that compliment you gave me. And then I realized we're busy recording a podcast. So thanks for having me, man. It's glorious. Appreciate you.
100%. Cheers, man. Bye.
Cheers.